The other contextual thing, and I'll give you a couple of examples. I was a lawyer first, and I went to work for a bank. A lawyer in a bank has no authority. I then became the chief administrative officer. I was not a trader, I was not a banker. I had no authority. I then became the vice chairman and the chief operating officer. I was still not a banker and still not a trader. I had no authority. And my whole role at Morgan Stanley and my success was all about trying to get people to do things that they otherwise wouldn't want to do and make them think it was their own. And it was not, I had a lot of help along the way and I made a lot of mistakes, and we can talk about some of those. The first one, and the first thing I would say is it's about being brave but being practical. We had decided we were going to set up a French government bond office in Paris. We didn't have one. And it was a debt, just leave it was a debt, one division, a debt interest. But the only way it was going to work was if two other businesses came along inside the firm, worked together. We had to do it all. And the investment bankers in particular, a very cynical, arrogant group of people, sadly still the same, basically said they weren't going to play ball with the other side of this same company. And I finally tried, I realized I need to get one person to answer a question, and somebody, actually he works at Barclays now, senior person at Barclays, said, well, I'm not going to talk to the investment bankers. I said, for Christ's sake, I'm not a telephone exchange. You got to talk to each other. Click. And I went home and was pretty sure that I had lost my job. I thought, oh God, what am I going to do? You don't do that in this kind of an organization. And then I realized, wait a minute, we have to get everybody into a room that's going to be there, and I'm going to have to find some way to do it, which is exactly what we did. It took a month to get three parts of the same firm to sit in a room and talk about something that was to their mutual advantage. It was ridiculous. But actually, we had around the table very different perspectives, and I'd gone around beforehand and talked to people about trying to figure out who it was that was going to be helpful, who it was that wasn't, but could we bring them along. And in the end, we did open the office. And interestingly, the investment bankers got their first big piece of business in France because of the debt business that they thought was so terrible. And the French government said, if it hadn't been for your united business led by your French team, we wouldn't be giving you this piece of business. Which was interesting, but very important for obviously what came later. I learned two things after that were very important. One, the power of getting people, doing your homework, building your coalitions, finding the right people, understanding where they were coming from. That's really important. And then making sure that you could get them in the room and work together. And the second was an executive coach who said, you're very smart, you do a good job, but you have to stop assuming that just because you say so, and because what you say sounds so right, that it's gonna work. And when I was growing up, my father said, you and your brother are sort of the same. Your brother will look at a wall and ultimately go around it. You just beat your head against it. And the executive coach said, stop beating your head against it. Your success in this organization is going to be about your ability to network with and understand people and try and bring them along. And it is consensus. It's not lowest common denominator consensus, but it is the thought of bringing people along.